Good day, everyone. John from the Worship Portal here with something special. We are on the new Stream PC. So I am hoping that this is going well and everyone is seeing and hearing me just okay. If you are in the chat, I would love you to say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. We got the creative trio. We got Nick and Grace from Sydney. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. Oh, I've got to mess with the exposure on my camera. It's warbling. We got Christy from Oklahoma. Good to see you, Christy. Good to see you. Who else do we have in the chat? Who else is here watching? Let me know. Let me know. Say g'day. Woohoo, new stream PC. That's right. That's right. We've got it. It is just to my right. Wish I could show you guys, but it's kind of awkward with the camera right now. I will be doing a video on my setup, just so you guys know, so we can definitely get this a little more official, show you guys what I'm working with, but I've still got some tweaking to do. Cable management is a mess right now. You may notice a little bit of audio issues happening during that music you heard in the intro there. So we're still trying to figure some stuff out with the Stream PC. But today is going to be a good test of it and to see what we're doing, to see how it's going, and just to work out some of those initial bugs. Emmanuel from the Dominican Republic. Good to see you here. Good to see you here. Let me ask you guys this. As we get started today, who has heard the new track from the Worship Portal? Who's heard it? Oh Holy Night. Came out on December 2nd. We had a bunch of people, a bunch of some of the musicians on the channel that are subscribers really help out with that. Huge thanks to all of them. Evie and Eels Dobner, who had vocals. Nate Miller, who was on bass, and Jared Humphers, who did the piano. So who has heard that? Let me know in the chat. Let me know who has heard that, because that is what we're going to be checking out today. In this test, we're going to be seeing what the Stream PC can do, making sure it's all good, but also checking out a few of the little fun things here and there of the Oh Holy Night track. You love it, Christy? Good to see. Good to see. Christy, whereabouts in Oklahoma are you from? I've got a few people from Oklahoma that watch. I know Adam. Adam Lawson is from, I think, Oklahoma City. Or is he from Tulsa? One of those two. I suppose that's kind of where everyone's from. Creative. Sounds amazing. Yeah, I'm so happy with how it came out. I just want to tell you guys the quick story behind it and how it came to be. So, as you guys know, at the beginning of November, we found out south of Oklahoma City, Newcastle. Good to know. So how Oh Holy Night came to be, it was very last minute. So as you know, in November, the very early part of November, my wife and I found out that we needed to move, we needed to find a new place to live. Not needed to, but we chose to. So we're looking for somewhere to move, and that was going to cause some issues when it came to releasing 2 tracks a month, like I try to. I try to release 2 tracks a month, but with the move, that was going to be tough to get both of those out. Now, lots of people were asking me for Christmas music. A lot of people were asking me for Christmas music, and the overwhelming majority of people said they wanted a version of Oh Holy Night. Now, that is a public domain song. That is something that, no one has the copyright to anymore, unless we did a version of it. But so that, seeing as it's copyright free, I chose, let me do my own version of it. We'll record vocals, we'll release it. Gabriel from Brasilia, Brazil. That's awesome. Wow. I don't think I've had someone from Brazil watching, so good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining today. But so as I was thinking through what I wanted to do for Oh Holy Night, I realized that we'd just passed 20,000 subscribers on the channel. And I thought, what better way to celebrate 20,000 subscribers than to get some subscribers involved and to record a version of Oh Holy Night with a bunch of people that subscribe to the channel. We got some super talented people. So why not kind of reach out, see what they say. So I reached out to 4 people specifically to help me out with the recording. And, as a creative person, as someone who really does all of this by themselves all the time, it was kind of tough, honestly. Kind of, hey, Jess. Good to see you, Jess. Welcome to the stream. It was actually kind of tough to choose somebody and to pick people and to let go of sort of the creative element, especially of the piano and the lead vocals being given away to somebody else. So I thought it was really really a good test for me, but man, it really came through. So I reached out in early November, so super late, to these guys, and everyone was on board with helping out. So what we did is over the next couple of weeks, we recorded it piece by piece. I did, a lot of the heavy lifting with the MIDI and the drums and a lot of that sort of stuff. But one person was local to me here, Nate Miller, that recorded the bass. He was local, so I was able to get him in the studio. Avi and Iles Dobner were able to help out from London. If you guys have been watching the channel for quite some time, you'll know these guys. They are the Hungarians that cover a lot of my songs. So, hey, Chris. They are the Hungarians, and they very kindly led their vocals, and I love them. They did an amazing job. And then Jared Humphers, who you guys have probably seen some of on the channel as well. He's in the chat a bunch, and he is he very kindly donated his talents for the piano, and it just came out beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Literally tears when I heard Jared and Avi sing and play the keys. So I was so excited to get all of that back and to hear it all kind of come together. We sent it out to another guy from a church who did the final mix and master of it. And I got that back about a week before we released it on the 20th. Yo, Adam, good to see you, mate. Good to see you, brother. So that's the sort of general story of how it happened. It was all very last minute. I thought to myself, let's celebrate 20,000 subscribers by getting a bunch of people involved in recording a version of Oh Holy Night, and we'll release it and kind of have some fun. And I think it came out amazing. So first thing that we're going to do, guys, is we're going to listen to it. We're going to listen to Oh Holy Night. Let's pull it up and let's give it a listen. And guys, if you like something along the way, you like a piece, you like a bit, let me know what you think. Throw it in the chat. I want to know. And as we're listening to it, tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. But we're going to listen to it, and then we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the multi-tracks. And I'm going to show you some of the fun stuff that happened as we were recording it, and a few stories behind it. This is a big deal for the channel, guys. I'm so excited that we got this out. I want to do this more. I love the collaborative aspect of it. And so let's give it a listen. Let's give Oh Holy Night a listen. By the Worship Portal, led by Avi Dobner. Hang on, let's turn the sound up, shall we? And that might help. All right. Just beautiful. I love that piano at the end. I got some fun stuff to talk about with this song as we recorded it. All right, guys, so here are the final multi-tracks. Let me show you this. This is the final multi-tracks for the song, for A Holy Night. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear it. There's some little weird sounds coming through. Like I said, first time with the new Stream PC. I'm still figuring some stuff out, so bear with me with that, guys. I apologize if it's annoying. But we got some fun here to talk about. So this is the multi-track for Oh Holy Night, which you can get right now on my Patreon, patreon.com/theworshipportal. I'll throw it in the chat for you. You can get the multi-track so you can sing this at church, sing this on YouTube, whatever you want. You can go license them there. Super cheap, guys. But some fun stuff I want to talk about as we go through. So first things first, this piano is just phenomenal. Jared, I asked Jared to send me the MIDI for the piano. Now, Jared sent me the MIDI as well as the MP3 and the WAV file for that used his effects and stuff, and I was always pretty certain I wasn't going to use it, but then I heard it and I just fell in love with it. So I love his piano. It just came. The thing I love most about it is the end. The end, I love how he ends it off. You can hear it. Love it. So I didn't even change his piano. I used his track because I thought it was just beautiful. It was just perfect. First thing I like, keys. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. So as we jump into it, bass comes in on the pre-chorus here. But this first chorus, I really wanted it to kind of punch, I wanted it to punch and then build, but I didn't want it to be huge. Because the second chorus is going to be the big one. That's going to be the big kind of punchy build chorus. But I wanted to give him just this little bit of a hit. With just the acoustic guitar strumming in the back. I love how simple Jared pulls back here on the keys. You see the waveform here, and he just pulls back so much. He lets it breathe. He lets it ring with those hits. I love using Sunday keys for live performances. They've got built-in sounds that you can modify and create. Beautiful keys and piano. Yeah, Sunday keys is amazing. I'm actually pretty sure Jared is using the smashed piano from Sunday keys. If not, it sounds pretty close. Logic's the best. Yeah, Gabe. I agree, mate. I love it. But as you can see, as we have these hits on the drums, you see him right here, Jared on the keys pulls way back and just lets it ring, lets it breathe, lets that acoustic strum take those crotchets. See, he goes from leading to really just pulling back, and I love it. It gives it the space. Then it throws that little bit in there. He's just so good at what he does. And then once it starts to build up, he comes back in. Super kind of sharp. The drums are keeping kind of chill, helping push it forward, building up just a little bit. And now the drums are going to really push through. Build up, have that snare build up. And then I love how it just pulls back. Way back. Just to Jared again, and then we're all in. Here's where I think Nate on bass shines. He just sounds amazing. Syncs up, locks in with the kick. Now this next pre-chorus is my favorite part of the song. So this pre-chorus is my favorite part of the song just because it's different. It's something that I'd never heard done before, and it came because of an accident, actually. I was laying down all the scratch tracks for all the guys to kind of listen along to and get the groove of the song. And I remember I was laying down the bass scratch track for Nate. Just a super simple version that he could listen to and get the gist of it. And here I slid to an A sharp instead of going to the regular D, right? So I didn't go to the D. So this is actually to D sharp, capo one. So this is a D sharp to a G sharp, right? But I accidentally slid to an A sharp, and I didn't mean to. But then I listened back to it and I thought it was just beautiful, right? Especially, which was a complete accident to what Jared did on the keys. And I think the bass and the left hand of the keys, the bass on the keys, just work together so well to create this new thing I'd never really heard done before with this song. So give it a listen and let me know what you think if you like it. Beautiful. Hey, Nat, how long's the stream been going? Exactly 23 minutes right now. But we're just checking out Oh Holy Night. So listen to what the bass and the left hand of the keys are doing. Right, I've never heard that kind of bass line been done there, and I just love it. I just think it gives such a mysterious kind of wondrous feel to the song, and it was done by complete accident and complete fluke. Because one, the bass was done without me even hearing Jared's final track, which my piano scratch track didn't sound anything like this. Then Jared sent it through, and it just matched perfectly with the bass line that Nate did. So I just love it. I love it so much. And then this next chorus was the first thing that came to me when I first wanted to do this song. Generally, when I'm writing a song, guys, and I'm thinking about the music, I can kind of hear it for the most part done in my head. I think Mozart said that about his music too. But I generally, the way I write is I hear it in my head. Like, usually I hear it first and I try to recreate that in Logic or whatever I'm doing. And I heard this style of chorus, especially the drums, in my head. And the first part that came to me was this last part with the staccato strings, which Adam was mentioning before. So let's play it through and I'll kind of talk you through a little bit about what's going on. So first thing we have is the Terminator drums. And now we're going to really punch it. No build, it's just straight in. And this next part, so like I said, this next part was the first part that came to me when I was thinking about this song. It was almost a call and response between the drums and the staccato strings. So smash, string, string, smash, string, string, right? On, off, the rest of that chorus. This is the first part that came to me. I just love how it came out. That's how you do it, Gabe? It's good. I love the little synth here, but we'll get into it. Like I said, guys, when you record a song of your own and you kind of come up with all this kind of stuff, you get so excited sometimes. But yeah, like I mentioned, the drums are the big thing that I really wanted to get sounding good and sounding big and fat and powerful in this part. So like I said, we have the Terminator drums starting off this chorus, right? And that big fat snare. Swelling, just big and fat, right? And it's not just a drum kit, it's a drums as well as I took a lot of what I've learned doing tracks for the worship portal and put them into this song, sometimes very specifically. So I actually took what we did with the Battle Belongs track. If you've seen the Battle Belongs video, or if you've listened to the multi-tracks that I made or that Phil Wickham made, you hear not only a drum kit, but there's also like extra drums kind of thrown in there. And that's what I'm doing here. So this isn't just a drum kit, right? It's also like extra drums, like extra percussion, right? Kind of throwing in on that. But you put them together and they sound so fat. Can you show us what the automation you have on some of the tracks? Yeah. So these are the final tracks. So they're, yes, now I can do that afterwards. That's on the previous file. So when I do the multi-tracks and I export them, I finalize them and then save them to a new project. So they're nice and clean and pretty and like for stream. But then we really punch it. Tambourine. And then as we get to here, it sounds pretty empty as drums with the kind of call and response part. Right? Then we have the big boom to end it off. The big boom to kind of help finish it up. Yo, Dan, new PC I see. New PC I see. That's interesting to say. Hey, everyone, a little late. No worries, Dan. Yeah, Dan, you're usually number one in the chat. You're usually here first. But yeah, so that's the drums. The drums were, like I said, the first thing I really knew I wanted to do in this song, and I knew how to do it and how I was going to do it. Starting off with the Terminator drums, into the big, just kind of punchy, into that call and response. The other thing that's actually interesting is the acoustic is just going through the whole thing. All right? It's just straight. Throughout that entire chorus, right? The bass is following the drums. right, with the Terminator drums. And then the electrics are actually kind of interesting as well throughout this chorus. So we got the bass rhythm electric, and then the lead, right? So that's just doing the chords. It's not that interesting, but the lead I really enjoy in this part, right? Kind of leads in with that scratch. Big kind of solo delay. That was just the melody, but then I came up with this line. Which I think just fit really well with the kind of punchy drive that's happening here, right? That's the punchy part. And then we're doing just the offbeats, just the 2 and the 3 and the 5 and the 6. Now that's copying what the strings are doing. So you'll notice that the strings are doing basically the same thing at that point. You'll also notice how dry the strings are, right? Usually I put some effects on the strings and I put some reverb and other stuff like that. But I kept them dry to keep them super staccato. I wanted to keep them super staccato because when you put it all together, you don't get like big strings. I didn't really want that. The other thing that came to me very, very early on about this part, like I said, this second chorus was the first part that really came to me, and I knew how I wanted to do it, and I wanted it to sound, is this needed to sound Christmassy, right? It needed to sound Christmassy. And the best way I thought to do that was to add some bells in this big section. So as we get into that staccato section, we got big bells kind of... What song are you doing? Hey Samuel, this is Oh Holy Night, the song that we just released. I'm testing out the new Stream PC by taking you guys through it and telling you some of how it was recorded and some of the special stuff. Especially this last one. That one you really hear in the track. That last one. But good to see you here, Samuel. The synth I really like, too. So I wanted to add this little synth. It comes in actually at the very beginning of the chorus. With just a sort of simple kind of pulse that you can hear, right? Just adds a little kind of airiness to it. But I love at the very end... I added this kind of chord synth. And I have it sort of fading pretty far into the background. Right, and just that, I think, adds an almost necessary contemporary feel, if that makes sense. So if without it, I think it sounds good, right? If we mute that, I think it sounds good. The very end, as we jump back into that chorus. Right? That's nice. I think it sounds great. But for me, recording isn't about adding things, it's about accentuating, and it's about getting kind of a feel that you want. In the same way that the different bass line in the pre-chorus gave that almost wonder sort of sound to it, I think the synth does the same thing. So let's listen to it again. This time with the synth back in. right? I think it just works really well with the piano. And then it fades out. And then the acoustic fades out. And then Avi and Jared, Avi on the vocals and Jared just kind of lead this out. And they take it over. Brown family. The whole family watching? Watching these videos are cool. Your work's been a total blessing. Hey, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I just love showing how I make this kind of stuff, because ultimately, guys, this isn't about me providing this content to you, these tracks and stuff. Like, you know, it is, and that's how you kind of get involved, and I'm fine with that, and I love that. I love people using these tracks. I love teaching people how to listen for this stuff, right? How to think about production and recording, because if you do it too, then all the better, right? This isn't just about me providing this. I want to teach you guys how to do this. Now, I mentioned to you a little bit ago that a lot of the tracks that I've recorded for the channel so far have actually directly influenced this track in very real ways. I want to give you some examples of what I mean by that. So first thing that I basically ripped off production values and production techniques from other songs that I've already done, because I really liked how it happened. I really liked the sound it gave. The example I gave before, me watching other people go over their work definitely has helped me with my producing. Yeah, that's what helps me as well. I love seeing how these other bands, these big bands, get these sounds. The example that I showed you before was Battle Belongs. The song Battle Belongs by Phil Wickham directly influenced the Terminator drums, right? Because not only do we have just the drums in there, we have extra drums fattening it up, and that's directly from Battle Belongs, right? We have these extra kind of higher pitched drums, right? And that's directly from Battle Belongs. Learning that and listening to that gave me the inspiration to know how to fatten these up and to get that sound that I wanted to where it sounds like this. Big, right? What else influenced? Oh, recording Greater You Lord. That was my most recent track that I've done. Greater You Lord, the feel of the second verse is very similar to Greater You Lord, right? As it comes back into second verse with this same kind of groove to it, right? Wow, that's cool. Yeah, I agree. Right, same kind of groove as Greater You Lord, that same kind of feel where it's pulled way back and then it jumps in with the big bass note, right? The big bass note and the swingy acoustic, very similar to that. Christ Be Magnified, right? Christ Be Magnified is, I think, the only worship song I've heard that has tubular bells in it, and that directly influenced me adding this kind of Christmassy feel with the bells in that chorus, right? These bells are directly from Christ Be Magnified. To kind of help with that Christmas feel, right? The synth was influenced by two songs that I did for the channel. One was King of Kings, and also Here Again by Elevation. So King of Kings, if you listen to it as you're going through the first turnaround, as the instruments really start coming in after that first verse and chorus, you get this sort of sharp pulsing synth. You get a sharp pulsing synth, and that's what influenced initially this, right? That's what initially influenced this. The synth, and then the very end here where the synth comes in, you kind of get this sort of mysterious synth directly influenced by Here Again. I think I mentioned it when I was going through Here Again. Let me play Here Again for you. I'll show you what I mean. There it is. Let me show you what I mean with Here Again. If you guys don't know, we have a Spotify, right? I got a Spotify account where I upload all of the tracks, not in every key, but all the tracks. So it's a great way to see what tracks I have available on my Patreon and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, go listen to me. Go listen to it here. I'd love to make that. Love to make Spotify a thing. But Here Again, at the very end of Here Again. Once again, YouTube, please don't copyright me. This is my own music. I created it. I have the cover licenses for it. I've got everything I need. Don't block me. Please. So let's jump to the end of Here Again. And this is one of my favorite things I've ever heard production-wise on an album. It's so unnecessary, but it just adds so much. This is the beautiful end of Here Again. It's just gorgeous, right? So as the piano fades out, so this is the final chorus where they're singing, unless you come, will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Right here, listen to the synth in the background. I absolutely love this part. Right? It's so unnecessary, but man, it adds so much. I love that. And that is the same kind of feel that I was looking to get here. That directly influenced me adding this at the end. Once again, this isn't necessary, but I just think it sounds so awesome. It just adds that little bit of wonder, right? As opposed to, it sounds fine. Ah, man, just simple stuff like that I love about production, guys. I just love the simple things that you can add that just make all the difference. Another part that, I think the final part of the song that was directly influenced by another song was the very end, the acoustic, right at the end here. So as you see, the acoustic stops right there. Piano and Avi, the lead singer, pushing it forward. But then right in the outro, I bring just a tad of acoustic back in, right? With a strum here, a little strum there, right? Little bit of acoustic to bring a little more color to that outro, directly influenced by So Will I. So Will I does the same thing at the end of its song. So guys, what I'm doing by this, it's not, hey, who was it? Steve Jobs that said, good artists innovate, great artists steal. In a way, he's true. In the sense that you need to listen to other bands, other artists, other producers, to get ideas for what makes your sound you and what makes your sound unique to you. These production techniques aren't mine. I'm sure the guys that put it in So Will I and Battle Belongs and Christ Be Magnified and all the songs I've mentioned today, they didn't invent these either. They were inspired by someone back in the day that they were super into when they were kids, right? And I think just listening to this helps you become a better producer, helps you become a better musician, and just gives you a better ear for music as you notice this and as you kind of are able to figure out how that sound was made. Because that's what I'm really striving for a lot, is when I listen to these tracks, every now and then I'll get caught up and I'll be like, wow, how did they make that sound? I think the most recent one I got confused by was Oceans, the synth right after the bridge. Just no idea how it sounded, but I had to figure it out. I actually think I figured that out on stream. I broke it down. It was like 7 different instruments together, and then we ended up getting it. But you figure this stuff out, you learn, you get better. And I just love that about production. So let's give it another listen through of just the backing track here and see if anything jumps out at me that we missed. That might be interesting about this that you guys might questions, throw them in. Hey, Dan with the $10. Hey, I really appreciate it, mate. Really appreciate it, brother. Dissonance at the end. So tasty. Love your Holy Night backing track. Hey, so do I. So do I. Thanks for telling me that you loved the backing track. I appreciate that. Watching from South Korea. Good to see you here. So guys, what do we think about that? How many hearts out of 5? We usually do this for people that do covers, but how many hearts out of 5 do we like for the Oh Holy Night song that we released with a bunch of the Worship Portal subscribers? I'm biased, so I'm going to put 5, but I encourage you to be honest. Wow, that's awesome. My theory professor would have failed me if he heard the dissonance left unresolved at the end. Jared, that's my favorite part of your track. Don't say that. Don't say that. I loved that part. That dissonance is beautiful. As I was looking through, I was saying before, Jared, that I asked Jared to send me the MIDI as well as... actually, I think I just asked you to send me the MIDI, but you sent me the MIDI as well as the actual MP3 and the WAV file that you exported with your effects. And I was fully had intention of using the MIDI and using my own piano, but I just love how it came out. And I love the effects, and I loved that dissonance at the end, especially that I didn't bother with the MIDI. I literally just used yours because I think it sounded so good and it suited everything else so well. Yeah, man, it was just perfect. It worked out so well. Times 10. Yep, times 10. But yeah, guys, very happy with how that came out. I'd always purposefully leave things unresolved. The golden heart equals 100 hearts. Much love. Really appreciate it, Jared. Andre, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The most complicated skill is simplicity. Famous artists. You've done both here, and it's amazing. That's honestly, man, that's a lot of my whole shtick when it comes to recording, especially when it comes to recording tracks for church use or for multi-tracks or for worship, because I think it's so important to be able to produce something that is reproducible by a regular worship band. That's why whenever you see my tracks, if you ever purchase my multi-tracks from my Patreon, you'll see that they always only have 3 electrics, sometimes only 2. I try to get 2, but in general, I do rhythm, low lead, and high lead. So here, I needed 3 because we needed to do big chords for the rhythm. And then that is like an octave kind of thing that goes up and down the neck. It follows the rest. And then there's this lead, right? But you can totally do without one of like either the rhythm there or the mid lead. You can get rid of one of those. And most worship teams have 2 electric guitarists, like most big worship teams have 2. But creating something that is reproducible is super, super important for me. The track that I always use is actually How He Loves by David Crowder. How He Loves. I love the song, and it is very reproducible. But if you look at the multi-tracks, there are 7 electric guitar tracks, and it's just, no one's got that many electric guitarists. Yeah, I just love having something that is reproducible, especially in how you play it too. So that's really key. So simplicity, that really resonates with me, Andre. I agree, there's something so special in simplicity. That's why I love the tracks here. Yeah, agreed. Agreed, Andre and Dan. And simple doesn't always mean easy, and vice versa. It's definitely an art. That's a great word too. Simplicity doesn't always mean simple, right? It doesn't always mean easy to play. Quite often, simplicity is some of the most difficult to play. Like, I can imagine Jared, as you were recording this, going from being the main instrument and doing flourishes and making it pretty to really pulling back, right? Simplicity can be difficult. You did it so well here, but what you were doing is you were serving the song. And I was very appreciative of that as the producer, but you were serving the song, and it shows experience, it shows wisdom, and it shows a real knowledge of your instrument and your craft. And I think that's so imperative when you're producing, when you're writing, when you're collaborating, right? I think that's really, really important. But yeah, that's really cool. I really enjoyed it. Struggle with some of the simplest things when it comes to music. Oh man, you're telling me. I feel like I have a drummer at my church. Love him. But every time I get on bass, I love playing bass. Just for those that don't know, bass is my favorite instrument to play on stage. But when I play bass, he always tells me at least once a week whenever I play, he's like, John, it's not an electric guitar. Because I just love playing bass and I have so much fun, and I try and do things that are just unnecessary, right? So for me, it's really difficult to play simple, especially when you're with a bunch of good musicians on stage, and you're having fun. Like when I have fun, I try and just jam. But when you're on stage on a worship team, you've really got to pull it back. You've really got to serve the song, serve the reason why people are here, and keep it simple and keep it kind of on rails almost sometimes. Shout out to all the bass players. Yeah, Nat. Bass, my favorite instrument to play. Who else is a bass player in here? If you're a bass player in here, give me a little hands up emoji and tell me what kind of bass you play. Knowing your role in a song and even in a section is so important. I'm definitely still learning that, but it really helps to have self-control and to listen to what everyone else is doing. Jared, you're absolutely right. And before you were here, Jared, I was actually telling people the story of the second pre-chorus here. And what you just said is really weird, because you didn't know the rest of the song when you were putting this together. And also the bass that I wrote in this line and then Nate played was a mistake on my part. I didn't mean to write it. It was a mistake. But then when I put your keys on top of it, your bass line along with like your left hand along with the bass, I love the creativity and wondrous sense it gives. Right? It goes to an A sharp instead of a D sharp on the bass. But I just think you didn't know that that's what the bass was playing, but I just think it came together so well in something that I'd never really heard before. But knowing your place is really important. But sometimes if you get lucky and, God is blessing your production, things happen really nicely. Just got a new little artist bass. Okay, cool. Now, if you got a picture of that, throw it on the Discord. I'd love to see it. The instrument player in church should think, how can I help people worship with playing instruments? You're exactly right. That's when we're on stage, that's our primary purpose. Too often, quite often it's like older rocker guys, right? I've played with a lot of phenomenal electric guitarists that grew up in the 60s and the 70s that can really play rings around me. But in the end, you've got to serve the song. You've got to realize why you're there, and that's to help people worship. And having a 10-minute Mark Knopfler solo every song doesn't serve that purpose. So knowing your place on stage, not necessarily your place in the song, but why you're on stage is also really, really important. The result of that is simplicity. Oftentimes it is, yeah, absolutely. Oftentimes it is. You're not wrong. Guys, I'm loving this conversation, by the way. Keep it coming. Even playing No One Else Cared for Me Like Jesus, I had to take down a lot and let the song speak for itself and leave room for the singer to worship. When God takes over, it changes everything. Yeah, you're not wrong there, man. Oftentimes I find that when I'm doing a backing track for the channel, I need to pull it back, and I need to simplify even sometimes from what the actual artist does, primarily because you want the voice to shine. You want the person singing to shine through. You don't want necessarily, you know, your amazing tambourine part to show through. You want that voice to shine. Yeah, absolutely. Andre, I play all the instruments other than drums. Jared, I've learned through the years of playing, we don't make mistakes, just happy little accidents. Bob Ross. Accidental notes are just jazz notes. Jared, I don't think you had any accidental notes. No, that's not true. I was looking through the MIDI. There were a couple of bung notes here and there. Yeah, but no, you can't even hear him in the final track. God's the most professional, so we can't be professional like God, but we can do our best for worship. Yeah, I heard Mia Fields is a songwriter. She's an Australian songwriter, actually. She wrote a bunch of big songs with Vertical Worship and a few with, I think, Hillsong and the Belonging Co. And I was at a songwriting seminar with her, and she mentioned that we serve a creative God. And when you write a song and say, it came from God, I got this song from God, but it's the most kind of boring, cliche song ever, right? Like, dude, did that really come from God? Like, we have the most creative, amazing God ever. And, you know, he can do better than that. But he is the most professional, you're not wrong. Andre, I've played with different bands where we had no practice. Sometimes our chords were different, but blend so perfectly by God's grace. Yeah, there's something special about being in not only an environment where the Holy Spirit's there, right? Kind of getting everyone together and getting the right spirit moving in the place. But when you're with quality musicians, you know, that's a big difference on stage. Like that's something I'm really grateful with my last two churches, but especially my current church. The stage is just full of phenomenal musicians. You know, from drummers to the bass players to the electric guitarists and the keys and the singers, there's just some phenomenal musicians at my current church, and it makes playing a real joy. You know, to know that you don't have to. I've been part of a church and been on the worship team where, you know, most people were just okay at their instruments, right? And I felt like I had to carry the band almost. Whatever I was playing, whether it was keys or acoustic or whatever, I felt like I had to kind of carry the song forward. I'm not sure if you guys have felt that before when you're on stage. But you kind of feel this weight and you can't really get into it because you're always listening to who's doing what. Is the drummer coming in when they need to? Are they doing that? But when you're in a place and an environment where you can let that go and you can just focus on what you're playing and the worship you can offer through your instrument, and then being on that team with a bunch of amazing musicians who are all on that same page, there's not much else like it. It's a really fruitful environment for the Spirit to move. Only with a single acoustic guitar we can worship God deeply. Maybe you meant something else, but I wouldn't really agree with that statement. You know, it's like when people say that, you know, hymns are the only way you can worship God. Like, I completely disagree with that statement. I think there are people out there that definitely worship more effectively with hymns because that's how they kind of interact with God, through those old songs that have so much history behind them. But, you know, I don't know, there's something special. Like, I think one of my favorite one of my most deep worship experiences I've had was at a David Crowder concert with full tracks and lights and haze and band. And man, I felt close to God during that. Like, I was weeping. I felt so close to God. And I think that's, it's definitely a huge spectrum between what allows you to get closest to God, right? Like, it can be a lot of different things, and it can be different for different people. That's why we have different denominations, different bands, different churches, because there is no one right way to worship God. That's not true. There is one right way, and that's with your whole heart. But in terms of stylistically, there's no one right way. And if someone says there is one right way, they're wrong. Yeah. That's great though, guys. That's really awesome. So Hope the stream PC worked out really well. I hope there weren't any dropped frames or any weirdness happening. Like I said, it's actually been quite a while since I've used a PC in general. So getting it set up was not the easiest thing for me. But getting it going was definitely fun. It's been a while since I've had a PC. Jared, when is the worship portal going to start preaching? This is fire. Hey, I don't preach. I don't preach. I sing. I sing, I produce, I encourage. That's what I do. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, it's been a while since I've actually set up a PC, so getting it going was fun. Definitely a challenge, but like I really appreciate you guys for supporting the channel over the past year, especially this year. The channel's had such huge growth. I think back in January, before I released Waymaker was the big kind of turning point for the YouTube channel. I was at maybe 800 subs, and we're at 21. Where's my thing? There it is. We're at 21,000 right now, and that's just phenomenal to see that growth. So not only thank you guys for being here and helping the channel grow and really appreciating what we do, but as we try and do new things like streaming production and all this kind of stuff, hey, let me talk to you like this, we're getting serious. As we're like streaming production, it's different, and I'm trying new things, and I love the response that we're getting. But then as there was a need for the channel, we needed a stream PC to be able to stream production more effectively. You guys really stepped up, and in a month we had that stream PC paid for. And that's just phenomenal to see. It's encouraging to me that this might be something that we do long term. This might be something that could eventually be full time. I can offer more tracks. I can stream more. If you do want to support the channel ongoing and help me get to full time so we can do more here, Patreon's the best way to do that. Even just $2 a month helps out a lot. I think the stat is if 1% of the people that subscribe to the channel gave $2 a month on Patreon, I could be full time. But listening and having discussions about music over this year have been saving grace for me. Oh, nah, that's sweet. I love it. I love being able to not only share my experience, like, cause you know, I'm an experienced worship pastor. I've been part of a lot of different churches. I think I'm pretty good at production. I'm not great, but I'm pretty good. Sharing what I have is really a passion of mine. Exhortation's my spiritual gift. So being able to encourage you guys is a real passion of mine. But why I've really appreciated the friends and the support that you guys have given me over this past year. It's been a rough year. It's been a rough year and a half for me personally, to be honest, guys. And yeah, you guys really helped me push through. You guys really helped me pull through. Kind of help me focus on what I needed to. The growth that this channel has experienced has really affected me personally in my growth in my path. So thank you guys so much for that. Love today's discussions about worship. It's awesome. Sharing what you're learning is helpful, but everyone you get to share it with, everyone grows. Yeah, Jared, you never stop learning. You never stop growing. You never stop improving. I had a pastor once say to me, and an old mentor once say to me that, he's done improving. This is where, there's no more improvement to be had. And I was just shocked because no one is done improving. Right? Like that's one of my core beliefs, in that everything we do, we can always improve. We can always do better. We can always grow. We can always encourage more. If we're not dead, we're not done. Isn't that a line in the new Elevation song, My Testimony? Maybe they say it a little more eloquently than that. If you're not dead, you're not done. But that's basically the gist of it. I agree, Jared. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Portala. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, but thank you guys for being here, for supporting the channel financially with a stream PC, on Patreon as you do, with super chats like Dan gave earlier. I really appreciate it. All this kind of stuff goes a long way to ensuring the future of the channel. But guys, I really plan on streaming a lot more now that I've got this stream PC. I'm trying to talk to my wife and try and figure out a good streaming schedule. What that'll look like, maybe throw some different things in there. You know, we'll stream some chats like this. We'll just kind of hang out. Maybe stream on Twitch a little bit. Maybe stream some gaming here and there because I enjoy a good game. But then also streaming a lot more production as well and showing you guys how I create these tracks. If you guys are curious how I create tracks on the YouTube channel, I actually have 2 videos there, I think 9 and 11 hours long each. And I recorded how I produced Goodness of God and Waymaker back on Twitch late last year. So you can definitely check those out. Everyone's got more growing to do. Amen, man. Amen. How's the stream PC? It's good. It's got more RGB than I thought it would. It's very gamer. I needed to get a keyboard too, so this is very gamer too, with with RGB and stuff. But I've been really using it for 2 things, and that's to stream and figure out how this goes, and playing Age of Empires, because I love a good Age of Empires. Gaming. More production. Yeah, Gabe. The whole point of this, like the whole reason that, I'm not sure how many of you guys have been, like how new some of you guys are, but the whole point of getting the stream PC was that I used to do a lot more production streams, like 6 months or so ago. As I really started getting into streaming on YouTube, it was much more production focused. But I found out that streaming, that I've got a pretty beefy MacBook Pro, but doing as much production on there with all the plugins and all that kind of jazz, right? It was just too much to stream as well as do all the production. My computer would get choppy, not enough RAM, not enough anything really, and it was just too much for it to handle, especially when I got the drums going, because that's a big plugin, and then the Helix plugins as well for the electric are huge too. So it just became too much for it to handle. So there was this need for a stream PC to take at least the heavy lifting of streaming and all of the video encoding and production off the processor of my MacBook Pro and put it in a PC. You guys really stepped up and helped out a lot. I put it as I would stream, I would say, look, I have a need. This is going. We did a bunch of streams, and you guys just stepped up and gave $5 here, $10 there, like a lot. So, in the end, we got $800, and I put some more of my own money into this, or some money that the channel had made to get something a little beefier. But yeah, like you guys really stepped up and helped this channel grow by getting a stream PC, and I'm just so grateful. And to see how God is faithful with simple things like God cares that this channel needed a stream PC, right? Like, it's just the simple stuff matters to God, because this now allows the channel to stream more. This now allows the type of content that we do to grow and to encourage more people. It's a beautiful thing to see a community come together and to really support something that you believe in. Storage and RAM go quickly the more you... Yeah, the RAM was the big thing for me. We always have something to upgrade. You're not wrong. I actually need to upgrade my MacBook Pro. I've noticed that with some of the more recent tracks, Oceans, Here Again, Battle Belongs, they're very hefty in terms of needs. I actually probably need something a bit beefier than my MacBook Pro. So maybe as I start getting into a streaming schedule, I'll start a new fund for a new Mac that can handle it a bit better. Maybe an iMac or something like that, or a Mac Pro. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how the growth of the channel goes. Hey man, it's what behind the scenes that hey, just a second, guys. We're chatting. We're not listening to much anymore. I'm cool to chat. I love it. But I'm going to get some tunes going in the background. Once again, YouTube, these are my tracks. I have the licenses for these. Don't block me. Please. Just get some backing music going as we're chatting here. How's that? That's probably fine. Amen. It's what's behind the scenes than what is the scene. Amen. Yeah. Amen. When you combine God's will and our obedience, some really great things can happen. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Jared. That's something that I think everyone needs to learn, but that's the tough thing. In order to learn that, quite often you need to jump out and take that step of faith, right? Like, for me, doing this YouTube channel was just a step of faith. Like, I knew I wanted to do something music related and, like, for my career, for my life, right? Like, that's why I became a worship pastor. I thought that's what I was meant to do. But something about online ministry, like both with the worship portal, and I'm an online pastor now at my current church. But something about online ministry and the growth and the potential and the sort of new frontier is just exciting to me, right? It's something that's never really been done before, never really been focused on. Too often churches just see online ministry as the way to get people to come to church. And, you know, I think it can be a destination. And I think that's really important. But you have to be willing to jump out and take that step of faith, right? To be able to be obedient in that way. Do you guys like this kind of chatting stream? I've never really thought I could do a sort of chatting stream where we just kind of hang out and talk about stuff. But if you like it, I'm down to do it more often. I really enjoy it. Especially when you got such lovely people in chat as you guys. Love the chat stream. Thanks, Gabe. Hey, Nat, thank you. Imagine if Paul or others had access to social media. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes I like to think about that kind of stuff, right? Like, I don't know. Things are so different these days, even than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I remember when I was in high school, like, cell phones were only in the hands of, like, the rich kids, right? Like, nowhere near everyone had a cell phone. I didn't have my first cell phone until the very last year of high school. And I just think of how ubiquitous it is now and how everyone's on their phone. Even myself, like, I find myself on my phone a bit too much. I wonder what it would be like if Jesus had a phone number. His phone number would just be 7. Or something as equally holy. You wonder what it would be if Jesus had a phone number. He kind of does. You pray. That's your phone. That's your phone number to him, right? Yeah. Ah, man. That's great. 7 times 7. 70 times 7. 49. Hey, guys. How's coronavirus going for you all? How's coronavirus treating you? What's going on at your churches? What are you guys doing? You locked down wherever you are? What's going on? Oh, I love this song. This was a fun one to do. You need to go get tested, Nat. I thought Australia was supposed to be pretty good. Didn't Perth just, like, announce that they haven't had a case since April? I know Australians don't talk about Perth. Like, Perth's not really Australia. But, like, that's impressive. Been super sick the last few days and self-isolating. Yeah, I was sick last week. I was super sick last week. Me and another person on staff was sick last week. Not coronavirus, but man, I definitely looked up the symptoms more than once to see if it was. You go get tested. But yeah, you should definitely go get tested. What are the lines like there, Nat? Like here, to go get tested, it's like a 3 or 4 hour wait. Don't want that song. Let's do this song. Let's do that one. We have online Sunday service, and I go to church Saturday morning to record online service. Yeah. A lot of people are online. A lot of people are just purely online. Praying Nat. Yeah, Nat. Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of people are online, and I think that's something that I've really enjoyed seeing, to be honest, that a lot of churches, just like I mentioned, just see the online service as a way to get people in the building, and just really didn't put any effort into it besides just getting a cell phone, right, and filming it. But I've really loved the creativity and seeing the creativity that that churches have had to do. They've been forced to figure out how to do this, and I've really enjoyed that. Seeing different stage designs, and like I remember when this all first started, I saw a church in I think it was North Point in Atlanta. They actually just put the cameras on stage facing the empty auditorium, like they owned it. Right, we're not meeting, and it was just really cool to see. New South Wales hasn't had cases for a week or so. We had a free drive-through test. No way, that's nice. It's more than my family are bullying me to get one. Big bullies. Yeah, I tell you what, but you should go do it. Michigan governor just locked us down for another 12 days. We've been online since the beginning of the virus. Gabe, yeah, I've heard Michigan's been pretty rough. I know Indiana, we've been getting hit pretty hard, but I think that's just more because people aren't doing what they're supposed to. Like, no one's wearing a mask here in Indiana. Jared stepped in on keys this past Sunday. Mainly play aux keys because our main keys player and music director got it. Oh, man. Louisiana just went back to phase 2, so we're doing 2 services. I like it, to be fair. Yeah. Yeah, we've been back in person. You know, we shut down for, I think, 8 weeks or so when it first happened back in March. But after that, since then, we've been pretty much back in with very, very severe social distancing and being very careful. But, yeah. Hey, I'm new here. Really like the stuff you do so far. Keep it up. Jose, thanks so much. Like your picture, too. Thanks, man. Really, really appreciate it. Nat, New South Wales Church has allowed 300 people services, and we can have a live band and sing with masks. Man, they're making you sing with masks. As of yesterday. All right. Good to know. Good to know. South Korea is in phase 2.5. What's 2.5 mean? I assume these phases are different for pretty much everywhere. I know in the States, phases sound, I think are a little different state to state. You can now get fined $500 or 6 months in jail if you don't wear a mask. Dang. I think they're getting pretty serious about it. We did one this morning, an evening service pre-COVID, and then went to 1 a.m. service, and now we're doing 2 morning services. The evenings are off, so we love that. Oh, man. My old church, we had an evening service. We had a Saturday 5:30 service and 2 Sunday services, and I enjoyed the Saturday service. It was chill, but to ask like a whole team to be there 2 days, it was kind of rough. Hey, Ruben, $5. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. You should do some Indian song performance tracks by Bridge Music. I've actually never heard of Bridge Music. Let me just search them real quick so I've got them in my search history. I'll check them out, man. Definitely will. Bridge Music. All right. Thanks, Ruben. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the $5. Nat, we pushed back our carol services from last Sunday to this to take advantage of the new rules. Yeah, we've had to be... I think everyone's had to be very creative with how we do this. My big thing, like, to be honest, like, my big thing is I think too many churches, and you know, my church is guilty of this too, to a point. Are just looking too much at like the word of that law that came out or whatever, and trying to like get around it by doing this and doing that. And I think too many churches are guilty of that. I think we need to take the heart of the law, which is to really encourage people like to wear masks, to stay home, to help stop the spread of the virus and all that, right? And I think we just need to take the heart of the law and kind of go by that, which a lot more churches I've seen are doing, especially as we've got this new like kind of uptick in cases, especially here in the States. I know other places are not as severe as us, but yeah, having to be creative by still doing what we need to do as a church is really important. Michigan's pretty crazy. Yeah, Gabe, that's what I've heard. You guys are just north of us, and I've heard crazy things. Aye. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to be it. This stream was really just for me to test out the new Stream PC. It's good to see that it was a success. I got some things to work out. I've also discovered that I love this kind of chat stream. So as long as we get a good amount of people in here, maybe we can do this chat stream a little bit more. But definitely let me know in the comments here or on Discord. If you're not on Discord, let me throw the chat, throw the link in the chat. If you're not on Discord, that's a great place to kind of hang out and ask questions and let me know. But I'd love you to let me know on the Discord how this went. Were things too soft? Were things too loud? How was the experience? Was there any weirdness? I want to know. Just because this stream PC, I've had to set it up from scratch. And I got a lot more setting up to do. But I really appreciate you guys being here, helping me look through Oh Holy Night, listening to me as I chat about some of that kind of stuff. And thanks for the super chats. Really appreciate it, Ruben and Dan. And I really appreciate you guys doing kind of being here and supporting the channel. Nice, brother. Little tip, maybe during your exposure on your camera. Yeah, it changes, right? My exposure setting is wrong. It'll change. I gotta fix that. I do. Great chatting. Yeah, really appreciate it. Put my next multi-track song request in the Discord. Oh, The Passion? Well, I'm doing a Christmas song right now, so I'll probably be streaming that one, a little bit of that later this week. But once I get back to regular songs, I'll be doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah, if you guys have requests for multi-tracks, go put them on the Discord in song requests. I would love to know what you want me to do. But thanks so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. Jump on the Discord. Follow me on Instagram and Twitch and Twitter and all that jazz. Here, I'll throw Twitter in the chat. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for listening to my heart about worship and where the channel is going. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you guys so much. Thanks so much for being here. I love you all. Have a great rest of the night.